Hey everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here. The rate of disclosure is increasing exponentially right now, and that shouldn't come as a surprise. We have the great conjunction of Saturn and Neptune occurring today, February 20th of 2026, a once in 36-year planetary alignment that is very well connected to the themes that are unfolding right now at the societal level. And really, there's too much to count. We have the release of the Epstein files, and that's a very, very dark place. We have a potential war brewing between the United States and Iran. This is something that's well connected to the Saturn-Neptune cycle, this dissolution of boundaries at the global scale, and then the reformatting of countries. For example, Russia, Iran, they're well connected to that planetary resonance. Just in the past 24 hours, we had the President of the United States, Donald Trump, discuss releasing all the information that the government has on aliens and UFO and secret programs to the public. And well, just about a week before that, less than that, we had Obama discussing aliens, saying that they're real. Take all of this with a grain of salt, right? There's so much deception and subterfuge that's done nowadays, psychic warfare and psyops and everything, that you can't look at this just like straight and be like, oh, that's 100% what it is, right? The conspiracy theorists have effectively been right all along. But the other big development is that we had prominent astrophysicist at Caltech, Carl Grimmer, murdered on his front porch. And so he was researching into celestial mechanics, and he was researching into asteroids and impacts and things of that nature. He was murdered. This comes less than 2 months after the homicide of a prominent plasma physicist at MIT, Nuno Loureiro. That was back in December of 2025. And so 2 is not a trend. 3, 4, or 5 would be. So we'll see if we have similar unfortunate events unfold across time. But all this is related to Saturn, Neptune, and right now we're in the thick of it. If you go by a 15-degree orb of separation between the planets, which is what Richard Tarnas recommends in terms of understanding their complete influence across time, then we are right now in the middle, but still quite a long time horizon left, because it'll take Saturn about a year and a half to separate that 15 degrees from Neptune. So we're in the thick of it right now. Perhaps you've been noticing that. I just discussed a lot of world events and things, but maybe you have been feeling it. I know personally, my dreams have been really, really crazy and vivid and just super, super memorable over the past week. And actually going back further than that, but really the past week has been quite intense. And I woke up this morning with quite a few insights that I had from my dreams. And one of them was that this wave, this first wave of kind of psychic activation and consciousness, is the first of a crescendoing sequence of waves that will come in. So this isn't likely to just basically finish up in the next week or so. I think that this is going to continue. And the other feeling that I have is that we are going to start seeing more of a merging between material reality and higher dimensional reality, which would include like the astral realm and 5D reality, right? There's, of course, multiple dimensions across our universe and reality. We live in a 3-dimensional realm. Maybe people watching this at least are in a 3-dimensional realm, but that doesn't mean that there aren't energies and entities and consciousness that exist in higher dimensional realms. And that intertwining of them is likely to increase as we go forward. I think we're going to start seeing more overlap between the astral realm and our current reality, and then also 5th-dimensional reality. Crazy as this sounds, this is, I think, what's going to happen. This is what I think. Now, what actually happens, we'll find out. But we're seeing already this blurring of boundaries, and that's very Saturn-Neptune. Saturn is boundaries and limits and structure, and Neptune is this dissolving agent. And at the same time, Saturn is a manifesting agent, because it is connected to material reality. And Neptune is this great ocean of consciousness and ideas and more. And so Saturn is manifesting a lot of things that have been floating around in this Neptunian ocean for not just the past 14 years, which is Neptune's last transit, but all of its cycles. This is a very, very big planetary resonance that is unfolding at this moment in time. So a lot to cover in today's video. And with that, let's jump right into it. We'll begin by looking at this great conjunction of Saturn and Neptune using Stellarium, which is a program which allows us to see what's happening in the sky, the position of the planets, the sun, constellations, and more. So you see that I've already plotted the ecliptic plane and the constellations as well as their labels, but I still have the ground and the sky on. Let me turn the atmosphere off. You'll then see this alignment of planets that we have. We have Mars here, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Moon. Well, it's a conjunction between Saturn and Neptune. So if we zoom in, all of a sudden you'll see Neptune appear. It doesn't show up initially because it's quite faint as compared to the inner planets, but we see Saturn and Neptune there in conjunction, and this is looking from the Earth. So this is a geocentric view. They are right now perfectly aligned in the constellation of Pisces. This does not occur that often. It's a once in 36-year event, and we will have all these planets and the sun move over them in short order. So that's the other aspect to this, is that this conjunction is not occurring on the other side of the sky where the sun is, because of course Venus and Mercury always stay close to the sun. Mars doesn't have to, but often it is, right? It's occurring very close to where all these planets are. So they're doing this conjunction, and then in just a month's time, we could go forward here. We will see that they're going to pass effectively over that point. So here's Saturn, and Neptune is going to be just nearby again. It's not going to be exactly as close as it was last time, but we see it right here. There's Neptune, but we're going to have all the move over. There's Venus, Mars will follow up behind, and Mercury, having done a retrograde, eventually will swing forward as well. So the inner planets are connected more to our daily life, and then the outer planets are more structuring of the larger cycles of time, consciousness, and therefore of what happens at the societal level, the cultural level, and what happens and actually becomes history. So we're likely to see an acceleration of things as the sun, which represents our consciousness, and these inner planets, which represent different aspects of our being, move over it. And so that's why I think this is very much just the first wave of an increasing crescendo sequence of waves of this sort of energy rolling in. Now, make of this what you will. This could very well be a psyop. It's certainly a distraction from what's happening with the Epstein files. That could potentially be partly a psyop. Like, don't put anything past these people. All of it's a show. But we do here have basically some indication that we could start seeing a release of information as it relates to aliens and UFOs and UAP and more by the United States government. So it's been a long time coming. A lot of people have been discussing this. A really prominent person who's been discussing this is Dan Waits at World Astrology Report, and linking this to the Saturn-Neptune cycle, and basically right on time for this conjunction it's occurring. So really look at this, right? February 20th. So that's exactly when this conjunction is occurring. So these people know what's up with these planetary cycles. If you need proof of it, there it is. I mean, Dan's been talking about this for years now at World Astrology Report. And here we get this, post the day of the conjunction. So make of that what you will, but this is just the first sequence. Remember, a conjunction is the seed point for a cycle. So you often have really powerful events occur with a conjunction, and that defines the entire cycle, certainly. It's the most powerful type of planetary alignment in general, but it's also a seed that will then manifest over the next 36 years. So as we have Saturn reach its sextile and then square and trine to Neptune, we're going to see more developments with this. We'll see a big development with the opposition, and then you'll get eventually another conjunction and a renewal of the cycle that will incorporate elements from the last one. It's quite complex. Dan breaks it down a lot. I recommend you go to his channel and subscribe and follow along if you're into this stuff. The other thing that happened around this time, which is troubling, is the fact that we had our astrophysicist friend at Caltech, Carl Grimmer, get murdered, and this news is just breaking. He led projects at Hubble and Spitzer telescopes, discovered multiple stellar streams in the Milky Way, earned a NASA Exceptional Scientific Achievement Medal, and he was also researching into asteroids and impacts and more. And well, we have Apophis coming in 2029. Remember that. So there could be some information there that we're not aware of. It's a very close flyby regardless. That just came in, and we have this following up on the murder of Nuno Loureiro, who was discussing and researching into plasma physics and specifically looking at plasma turbulence. Because these sort of fusion reactors, which a lot of people are building now, their main problem is that they can't get plasma to cooperate. Plasma has a mind of its own, it's conscious, has a mind of its own, doesn't like to just stay easily confined and basically just do nothing and get molded around. It's always undergoing these kink instabilities, and effectively it's really hard to get plasma actually to condense down to that point where you can have fusion occur. These elements combining, colliding into each other and fusing together. You need that plasma to condense down to do that. So that's a fusion reactor. So two big scientific names, you could say, in these more astrophysical realms murdered in the past 2 months, and that is certainly a troubling development. And just a quick update for you on the space weather. We did just have a coronal mass ejection impact the Earth, so this is just starting to come in. Does not appear to be that big of an impact. The solar wind strength, the magnetic field going from 6 nanotesla up to about 10, but this could drive a little bit more geomagnetic volatility. And in general, the reason why I've been mentioning this in relation to the Saturn-Neptune cycle and some of this disclosure and all this crazy stuff is that when you have more geomagnetic volatility and you have more solar activity and that charging from the sun, it just makes people a little bit crazier, right? It's an activating agent. It's like a catalyst for there to actually be enough energy to drive a change or to trigger a reaction. And so this isn't a huge impact, but we've been loaded with tons of energy now from the sun. We've had tons of big geostorms over the past few years during this solar maximum. And now we're at the end of that. And that is right when the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is occurring. And effectively, we've all been charged up, right? There's so much happening right now. I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 months' time, everything looks dramatically different. I mean, we also in the United Kingdom just had Prince Andrew arrested as it relates to his ties with Epstein and all the sicko stuff that they've been doing there. And so he's in the royal family, or at least he was. So that's a significant step. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a big dissolution in many aspects of governments across the world. Hopefully, we'll see. But this solar impact, just adding an extra little bit of energy into everything that's occurring right now. And I think this relates to us at a more personal level as it discusses our connection to these more psychic energy fields. I know personally I've been having some really interesting dreams, and some of them not so pleasant, some a little bit more pleasant. All of them very odd, I would say. An example I'll share with you, if you're not following me on X, then you wouldn't know this, but I had this dream of an avalanche coming down a mountain. And I think this relates to Saturn-Neptune and this whole disclosure process too. I think it relates to multiple things, but you'll see what I'm about to say. This mountain was in front of us. We're hanging out at the picnic table, and this avalanche came down it because people at the table started to yell out to get the cool echo sound around the valley. And I was telling them, like, guys, there could be an avalanche that starts as a result of that. They didn't listen. They got louder and louder. All of a sudden now there's an avalanche coming down towards us. Me and 2 others get up and we start running away because we're not stupid. We're like, this avalanche is going to hit us. We all of a sudden are at the edge of a cliff, and the only way down is to jump. It's like a 40-foot drop. We take the fall. We jump over. Thankfully land at the bottom fairly unscathed. Remember, it's a dream, but all of a sudden now we're running away. We put some distance in between us. The avalanche totally hits where we were, the picnic table, the other people. They're all buried now, and it stops just at our feet. Like the last little bit of snow goes up right to our feet. What's interesting about that is not only do I think it's a metaphor for what's coming and what's happening right now, and the smart people are the ones that are running away from that picnic table and basically seeing things for what it is, but right around that time frame, there were a variety of notable avalanches. There was an avalanche in Tahoe and also an avalanche in Italy. And I did not know of these avalanches when they occurred. But I posted that dream because someone, I saw the video from Italy And then that triggered me like, oh, maybe I should share my dream about that. But I was completely unaware of these events that occurred in Tahoe and in Italy. So I somehow connected to that information in the collective consciousness and effectively had that dream, and or B, that dream is also a metaphor for what's occurring, right? There's often multiple things at play here. Or C, it's just a complete coincidence. But it's not like I have avalanche dreams every single night. I can't tell you the last time I had an avalanche dream. I'm not sure I ever have had an avalanche dream. That was a very vivid, I woke up, I wrote it down. I don't write all my dreams down. I remember most of them, but it has to be fairly special for me to write down. I wrote down because of its kind of metaphor, you could say, for what I feel is happening right now. Then I found out about these events. So that's just to show you that we are connecting increasingly to these psychic energy fields, the Schumann resonances, the collective consciousness, and these boundaries are also being blurred. I know when I was in Costa Rica in 2022 in Nosara for a retreat, there was some microdosing that we were doing there as well. But we were connecting to these energy fields of the jungle and of the animal and ancestral spirits really strongly. Everyone, even those who weren't participating in some of those ceremonies that we were doing, because we built up this collective vibration and resonance, everyone was connecting to it to some degree. I had some really crazy dreams interacting with animal spirits and also ancestral spirits. I saw this really big like jungle spider in one dream. Another dream, I was speaking to like an ancient chimpanzee or something. It was really quite wild. That's an example of an energy vortex. Anyone that's been to Nosara in Costa Rica or Costa Rica in general knows that it's an energy vortex. Some of these exist on the planet. The pyramids in Egypt are another. There's quite a lot of these sites. Megalithic sites are energy vortices and more. I get the sense that those areas where the veil is thinner and you have this greater connection between 3D, 4D, 5D, and other dimensions, that's going to spread out. Well, who knows? But that's effectively what I'm feeling and what I'm personally experiencing. I know many of you are experiencing that as well. So if you'd like to share any of that in the comments below, then please do so, because it helps us provide greater data and evidence and perspective for others who maybe are a little lost here. But this is really just the first tiny wave of many that's coming in. And it's going to be a lot that's thrown at us. There's already a lot that's thrown at us. Get ready for even more, I think, as we go into March, as we go into April. I mean, we could, the United States and Iran, as well as other regional groups, could be in a war together in March and April. We're going to get more disclosures from the Epstein files. We could start to get UFO alien disclosures, real or not, I don't know. And there's also this whole financial breakdown that's occurring, the disparity between rich and poor. We're really at a critical point in time right now. One thing that you learn if you research into planetary resonances and cycles is that the energy and themes that are brought up with prior conjunctions and cycles, they don't just happen once, they are then incorporated in all future planetary conjunctions and cycles. So you take the conjunction between Pluto and Uranus in 65 and 66, 1965, 1966, right? That was very powerful. You had the Vietnam War, you had all the hippie protests and much, much more, right? This new exploration into consciousness using psychedelics, right? Then you had the conjunction between Pluto, Uranus, and Jupiter in 1969, and that brought about a bunch of scientific advancements and achievements. Well, that doesn't just go away. That's all then incorporated into future alignments. So we've had some really big alignments over the past 125 years. I mean, going even further back, but really some very significant alignments, like that Pluto-Uranus-Jupiter alignment is quite rare. We had a Uranus-Neptune cycle in 1993 that was there at the birth of the World Wide Web. That's a very powerful resonance. That's being activated right now by Saturn-Neptune because we have Pluto and Uranus in aspect to both of them, sextile trine to each other. So all these different planetary cycles that have been active are culminating in a certain way right now with Saturn and Neptune being the the final manifestors of that cycle. Because again, referencing Uranus and Pluto, they're at their opening trine right now. That's a very long cycle. They're at their opening trine. This is the first trine. So all these cycles are interbedded with one another, active right now at this moment in time, and we're going to see that continue to manifest. A prior Saturn-Neptune cycle back in the 50s was well connected in time with a whole bunch of UFO flaps, specifically also saucers over the White House, which is I think 1954 or 1952. So this is all coming to a culmination moment. It's really quite significant. I still think at the end of the day, you can go out on a hike in nature and the world's not going to be any different in that way, thank God. So make sure you do these sort of grounding and centering exercises, spend time in nature, breathe fresh air, deep belly breaths, eat good, clean food. But there is a lot happening, and being in denial of that doesn't mean that's not happening. So it's good to be aware of what's happening and to see the trajectory of things, to be ready, right? I don't know what this avalanche is. I think that in many ways, artificial intelligence could be an avalanche. I think that increased war and aggression could be an avalanche. And some of these disclosures is an avalanche at the societal level in terms of how people start to organize and what they start to do collectively. But there's other things as well. This psychic avalanche is coming in. So pay close attention to what you're feeling right now, and you'll better feel these things if you are calm, meditative, centered, and grounded. So that is my recommendation for you, and I have quite a bit of optimism that things will turn out good. They'll turn out okay. Often, it's darkest right before the dawn. So I think many of us feel like that right now. But now is the time to push forward with your own initiatives, and what inspires you is what you should pursue, especially if it's something that not only is a celebration of your own unique individual talents, but also helps the larger collective. Those are the things I feel like are really going to be rewarded by the universe, God, karma, right? So on and so forth. So wishing all of you well. Happy Saturn-Neptune great conjunction. Let's do a quick sound healing cosmic connection meditation to bring this all in, and then I will be off. So I encourage you to find a comfortable position, seated or laying down, and to start just noticing your breath. And once you are in that state of observation, to start regulating your breathing very gently, very calmly, deep breaths from the diaphragm. So down here, to reduce your chest breathing and instead do more belly breaths. At the top, do a big exhale. Physiological sigh helps to calm the nervous system. The universe is throwing a lot at us so we can be better prepared for the future, asking us to regulate our metabolism and our nervous system better. That's all connected to Aquarius, and we are in the age of Aquarius. Deep breaths. And draw your focus with your eyes closed to your third eye, the space in between your brows. And feel the energy there. Imagine a glowing orb of light pulsing. Activating your third eye. Draw that awareness now to your chest, to your solar plexus and heart chakras. Deep breaths. because it is from our third eye that we visualize what it is we seek, and we manifest that using the power of our solar plexus, and we radiate that outwards using the biofield generated by our heart. Which helps us to attract those who are in resonance with us, who can help us along our journey, and to manifest what it is we seek into our reality. Now is a time dreams can become true. Anything is possible. We are now stepping into an age of inspiration. Energy flows where attention goes. Choose your consciousness, your focus. Your attention is invaluable. Your time is precious. Thank you all so much for spending some time with me today. I've been your host, Stefan Burns. Thank you all. Wishing each and every single one of you well. Have a beautiful, blessed Saturn-Neptune conjunction. This is going to continue these energies for the next year and a half, though right now we are at the climax moment. So I am so optimistic and inspired right now. I do see what is happening. My eyes are not in the sand. I'm not an ostrich, but I just see that these cosmic influences coming in are able to create radical and instant paradigm shifts. And as a result of that, we're in this ascending age of consciousness by the Yuga cycle, the Great Year cycle. What we see maybe as insurmountable problems can actually be overcome in ways that defy our current understanding and at rates much quicker than we may think. So stay in that realm of positivity, be aware of what's happening, but if you so choose, but better to start to actively manifest and create this world that we want, one that is based upon love, peace, and understanding. So thank you all so much. Wishing each and every single one of you well. Please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next video.